Please go live from Instagram. Ron.
Get ready to unlock the game changer in you. Welcome to IISM, where passion meets education and dreams take center stage. At IISM, we redefine sports education, offering UGC approved bachelor's and master's degrees in sports management and sports science in collaboration with University of Mumbai, along with a PGP course in sports management. Immerse yourself in a world-class curriculum designed to sculpt leaders in the sports industry. From cutting-edge marketing strategies to techniques that help improve the game of athletes, we cover it all. But it's not just about the classroom. It's about turning your passion into a profession. Ready to kickstart your career in sports? Visit our website and gear up for success. IISM, where champions are made.
All right. I think we are live. So, a warm welcome to everyone who is joining in today. We have some initial viewers who have joined in, right? And it's a beautiful Saturday evening that we are hosting this session on. And what better day to host when we have yesterday's incoming news that, Laksha performed outstandingly in the Olympics. And we also have the Indian hockey team bringing in laurels by beating Australia. And, I think they did it after 50 years. And then we definitely have Manu, who is bringing in a lot of laurels for India in the Olympics through shooting. So, we thought what better day to discuss sports, discuss Olympics, discuss the business side of sports with someone who has years of experience, who happens to be the chief operating officer of the International Institute of Sports Management, India's premier sporting institute, Sports Management Institute. If not in Asia, they are now ranking very high in the Asian spectrum as well. So, hearty welcome, and I am very pleased to host you, sir.
Same here, and it's extremely, it's extremely good to have a student hosting us.
Absolutely. Just for the viewers who are not aware, I did my, bachelor's at IISM, so I am an alumni, and it's funny how the wheels turn and how life comes at a full circle. Today, while I'm within the industry, I got this opportunity to host my people from my college. So it's intriguing, just circling back from my days in 2018, while, I just started till now, I see a plethora of opportunities that are coming in, the way the industry has opened up and the way things are moving, it's fantastic. So why don't we just start with a little comprehensive overview of what is happening within the Indian sports ecosystem and where the opportunities are.
See, I will not give any percentages, but a simple fact and the way that the government has been kind of investing into the sporting ecosystem, the way the budgets are rising. I think it was we had a budget of 3,400 odd crores for this fiscal year, and I think that's one of the highest amounts that have been allocated, except for the year during COVID 21-22. I think that was the only year when the budgets went down, but otherwise it's on rise, and I think that speaks a volume on how this industry is rising, and coupled with the fact that our sports people, our sportsmen are bringing laurels to our country, that is that is even taking it much higher. The interest levels are increasing day by day.
Absolutely. And, the interest levels are increasing by the day, not just in terms of viewership, but now India was predominantly recognized as a sports watching nation, right? And now we are moving into a spectrum where we have more people playing. So the participative sports market is increasing at a very steady pace, right? And at BBFS also, the thing is that we run academies across the country, right? And we can see that this trend is happening where parents want their children to sort of play and, be lead an active lifestyle, right? So, but the thing is, as we all know, at the elite level, the opportunities are very limited. It's not like if 100 people are sort of pursuing sport, all of them are going to be professionals, right? So that is where the awareness needs to come in, that it's not just playing on the field, but there are multiple opportunities of it as well, right?
Right.
So if you can just discuss briefly about the key verticals that exist within the sports management spectrum and how they are evolving in the recent years, I think that would be a great head start for our students as well.
See, sports management as a career is on the rise. I always tell during my seminars, during my interactions, that a person who's getting into the sports management industry right now, he is on the
Mhm.
upslope. Every industry has growth, and we are there on the upslope. I'm saying ki you yourself have experienced it. As an alumni, you have experienced it uh, when you were studying, the kind of opportunities existed, and the kind of opportunities exist now. There is a vast difference in that.
Absolutely, completely
Sports
agreed with you.
management, yeah, sports management is basically not only, we don't talk about only operations. There are different verticals into that. We're talking about operations, what BBFS is involved into, that is grassroots development. And we are really very happy to be associated with BBFS, that to see the kind of work that you guys do, the kind of people don't really realize how deep can the grassroots development go, what kind of what kind of players it will provide to our country. So I'm saying grassroots development, for me, it's a very big opportunity. We're talking about data analytics. People who come from a technical background don't want to get into operations. There is something called data analytics. I'm saying that's a vast field, that's a huge field, and then every team needs a data analyst with them. Why only team? That the channels need. I'm saying I'm sure people like BBFS, the organizations like BBFS, also would have a person doing the analysis for them.
Absolutely,
People to
absolutely.
manage federations. One of the biggest chunk goes to federations. We have lots of Sai has a lot of opportunities, wherein you have different versions of Khelo coming in. You have the Khelo Para, you have the Khelo Youth Games, you have the Khelo University Games, and then you have the Khelo Winter Games. So many opportunities to work with Khelo. National Games is happening on a regular basis. You have opportunities in national games, and that they teach you a lot. Opportunities with government teach you a lot. Business development is one of the biggest side in sports management. You have lot, but where are you going to get a revenue from? Where are you going to get that? So business development is a very good big area. Media communication, PR. The people who are interested into this side, there is a lot that they can do into this. What everybody wants to get into, sports event management. Go and handle sports, go and manage events. I see a smile on your face. I'm sure you also wanted to do that.
I believe I didn't.
Yes,
I know most of them, most of the people wanted to, but I can recollect and recognize why you are saying this, because that's the case mostly.
everybody wants to get into that. No,
Yeah,
but the next the one that I'm going to talk about is what everybody wants to get into: athlete management. Be an athlete manager.
absolutely.
So
Huge
everybody
thing.
wants. Yeah, it's a huge thing. But I always say that how many athlete managers would be there?
Absolutely.
For one athlete, how many managers you would require? So there is the numbers are not really huge. Sports retail, one of the biggest sector currently, one of the
Mhm.
the undermined sector, not very much of focus given to this sector, but sports retail is growing big. Look at the opportunities
Absolutely.
which exist in I'm saying retail outlets like Decathlon. I can go and talk on for continuously on what happens.
There are
And
so many companies also, who are entering into the spectrum, new companies who are coming in. If you can maybe talk a bit about that in the retail space or in all the
they
sectors you spoke of.
you have quite a lot of them. Lot of local companies are something like a Total Sports is coming from based in Mumbai. They are coming up with their outlets, or even what used to be earlier looked upon just as a shoe shop, that is Adidas or Reebok, are also turning out to be retail outlets with good experience for sports management professionals. And basically, if somebody is going to ask me, do they pay good? Yes, they do pay good. They pay very well. And lastly, but not least, sports tourism.
Yeah.
Sports tourism is growing. Sports tourism is growing leaps and bounds. with our, maybe I have to yet get the figures, but the number of people who have traveled to Paris from India, it's huge.
For the
And in fact,
Olympics, right?
Ronak, you will be surprised to know we have at least 5 to 6 of our students working on this in sports tourism sector only on Paris Olympics, directly
Absolutely.
related to this. And so there is glamour, there is money. You get to kind of do your event management, what not is involved into this. But these are the few sectors which are currently growing in the sports management field.
Absolutely. And to add on to that, we spoke more from an operational standpoint. But if we come to the technical side as well, with the rise
Yeah,
of participation, with the rise of teams and everything, there's a lot of opportunities on the technical end as well. Say the number of coaching licenses. The last session that we did
yeah.
was about coach education in India, and we were discussing about the policies of that the Indian Football Federation particularly has placed in, and the number of coaches who have risen in the last years is humongous. I mean,
See,
look at the number of
I'm
coaching
not the authority
licenses.
to speak. I'm not the authority to speak on coaches for sure, but I'm saying it's a simple maths. If the number
Absolutely.
of sports participants are increasing, you're going to need more coaches. That's but obvious. So anybody who I'm saying who wants to pursue that field, the field is any which way is going to rise. So the whole ecosystem is growing. The whole ecosystem is growing. It's not restricted only to the business side of sports as the awareness is growing. And as I
Absolutely.
said earlier at the beginning, I will give this to the way the budgets have been allocated, the way our government is supporting sports right now. I think it all attributes to that.
Absolutely. Since you mentioned about government, it brings me to my next question.
Yeah.
Of course, the government is focusing a lot in sports, right? With the Khelo India Games, with the Khelo India Youth Games and everything. And there are also a lot of initiatives at the grassroots level that they're taking, which we are aware because we work very closely with the government in some projects, right? So in that, how do you see an aspirant who is, say, who wants to build a career in sports get into work with the government, because government jobs in India is still very sought after for a lot of parents. So if you can just talk a bit about that.
See, you have a lot of opportunities. As you started off, you spoke about Khelo. Khelo has many opportunities, and I have seen. I'll talk about IISM. I have seen our students who have continued with Sai, who have continued with Khelo in different positions. I would not name the designations right now, but they have continued in that.
Hmm.
They do take lot of consultants on a project basis. Let's say, for example, the moment Khelo starts, I'm saying from December to April onwards, you're talking about close to 4 5 months. They need people. So there are a lot of such opportunities where people go and join them for 4 5 months, help them in execution of games. Same happens with national games also. Just for record, when we worked on national games as a
Hmm.
strategic knowledge and training partner, we had 35 people working with us directly only for national games. I'm not
Oh my
counting
God,
the
is it?
people. I'm not counting the people who have worked directly with different agencies into different ACTs and other things. I'm not counting those. That number would still go high, but the number
Hmm.
of people who really work, direct people, the number is really high. So there are regular opportunities. Problem is not everybody who wants to get into sports management, they just look at it from a glamour point of view, and government does not entice them. That's a major challenge.
Hmm.
I would strongly suggest look at this as an option. One, because it gives you a lot of experience. You name a field, and it kind of gives you an experience to handle that. You're ready to handle any sort of I'm saying you're ready to manage any sort of game post you have this experience.
Makes sense.
Absolutely,
Absolutely makes sense.
absolutely. You should, and everybody who wants to get into should have this.
Absolutely. And talking also from a player standpoint, because we work with young aspiring players who want to make big strides within the professional domain. How does playing sort of help in building a career in sports management? If you can just briefly talk a bit about that as well.
See, I will again here. I'll also give you numbers. This year, our cohort is close to 85% of sports people.
Oh, is it? And
Yes,
and can you
yes.
also talk about the concentration of which sport? I'm assuming it's cricket
Not
majorly.
really cricket. In fact,
Okay.
Ronak, your generation really does not talk only about cricket. You also know that it is a
Yeah,
mix.
yeah.
You talk a lot about football, But this
Absolutely.
year, so I'm just going with this year's statistics. We have a mix of cricket, we have a mix of football, people who have represented at state level. We have a mixture. We have a lot of gymnasts this year. We have a lot of
Oh,
martial arts students. So basically, what these are the students who want to get associated, be remain associated with the game even after their playing time is over. See,
correct.
there comes a point when you realize, I don't think so. I can make it now to a bigger league. This is where my career in sports, playing sports, will end, and that's a very honest acceptance that everybody gets into. But I am a sports person. I want to relate, keep working in the sports industry, and I get into sports management. That's a trend. That's a trend that I have seen, at least at IISM. And Ronak,
Hmm.
80% is a huge number for us. I'm saying
Yeah, yeah.
even when you guys were there, I think it was 60-65%.
Close to that, definitely. In my class, if I remember, not all were players. I mean, it was a balance. It was a 50-50 balance, I would say. But if
Yeah,
it has gone up to 80, then it's
it's a,
fantastic. I mean,
you
it
will be
showcases
surprised to
that players
know
want to get involved in, the sports industry at large.
I have 15 to 16 international representations. And when I say representations, not who represented, who are still representing the country,
Ah,
they have joined this year. So everybody has a backup plan. Post
and
my
it's
playing
essential.
days,
It's essential.
it is essential. It is essential. Post my playing days, what? Post my playing days, I need to be associated with this game, maybe into maybe operations, maybe into event management, whatever, maybe athlete management, because I was an athlete myself. I would love to be an athlete, but the athlete knows that I would know what I want. So yes, anywhere. So that's how people want to be associated with the sport by getting into sports management.
Absolutely, absolutely. But here comes a question, at least during my time, you can now speak about how the industry landscape has evolved, or in general, how the young kids or the parents are perceiving this. But during my time, what the trend was that, we'll do our bachelor's in, say, in India, then we'll
Yeah.
go for a master's in, say, a foreign country, right? And there's a lot of this belief that if you pursue a course from outside, it will give you a much better perspective, much better opportunities, and maybe you can make a playing career out of it as well. If you say land up in, say, in England, and you can try your, from a football perspective, you try your luck in the third or fourth division, then you come back and sort of play. But that usually doesn't happen. But from a curriculum, from an academic standpoint, would you like to shed some light that, how does the landscape look like, if we have to compare
I
Indian
have
sports
a
management
very
system
very
and
very
outside?
different view on this, and these are my
Please go ahead.
individual views. See what
Yeah.
you rightly said, that yes, if you are going to get to play outside, there's one more avenue that everybody is talking about is US. Go to US
Yeah,
and try cricket.
it's a very mature market.
Yes, I always say that yes, if you're getting an opportunity like this, please do try. If you're sure
Hmm.
of going to get a chance to play in your team, going to get either in the football or in cricket, I'm saying yes, please do go ahead.
Hmm.
Second, if you're going there only for education, I'm sure you remember, I always say, if you are going to get a visa, a work visa, to continue working even after your the regular work visa has expired, then only go. If there is somebody to sponsor your work visa, after that 2 years period,
Hmm.
then please go. Because see, otherwise, what happens is, to work in India, you need to know the Indian sport ecosystem better, how the things happen at a stadium level in Mumbai is more important than how it happens in Lords. For example, let's say you go and do your management in UK somewhere. You are taught how to handle a Lords. You know how to handle everything, operations in Lords, the crowd management in Lords. You just try and
Right.
picturize what I'm saying. Cut to your visa gets over, you earned whatever that you want to earn, small amount, and you come back to India. You're thrown into Indian sporting ecosystem, and you're made to manage 1K day. Do you
The
think that
dynamics change completely.
you understand what I'm saying? And plus
No,
you're
but for
not
the viewers perspective, if you can just dig deeper, like how does it change? I can get an understanding, but for our
the
audience, if
whole
you can just tell.
the whole discipline which is there in the international market for anything. Stadium management is just one example. It's just one example. It's very different in the way that we handle things out here. the way that we have to be ready with the last moment. Those things are something that you will learn on field in India. Knowing the Indian perspective, knowing the Indian customer, knowing the Indian operations agencies which are going to be associated with the sports, because here you will maybe have to call 10 times to get one event management company and do your work out there. There you don't even have to call. There it is all, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all in the process. I am
Absolutely.
avoiding the use of word jugaad out here. But here everything, it works on that. Everything works on that. What happens at the last moment? It's better to know that if you're going to come back to India to work, it's better to study in India, know the sporting ecosystem of India. It's easy for you to handle. Your experience will be counted more. What kind of when they take you on board also post your internship, that will count a higher rank than what you have done outside. And that's the reason I
Absolutely.
say, unless
Absolutely.
you are sure about getting a work visa, permanent work visa outside, don't please study in India. And plus your economics don't work. Your return on investment, what everybody started calculating right now, they really won't work.
Completely agree with you. Adding on to this, where while you were speaking, you also mentioned that a lot of students are more inclined to say work in leagues, work with teams, and all of those things. Now there is also a perception in general, which I have also faced, which you might also face in the recent times. That is, if I have played a certain sport, I can't work in a different one, right? I'll have to
Yeah.
do something in that particular sport. Specifically, it comes with folks who are involved in cricket in India. But since we have majority of our students playing football, they might want to work in football. But why don't you maybe speak a bit about the emerging leagues that are happening across sports, and whether these folks can make a career out of it if they wish to, if they want to be a part of the sporting industry at large. So if you can just
Okay.
shed some light on that.
So, I'll answer your second question first.
Okay.
Once you get into the sports management industry, there is nothing called as I come from this sport.
Hmm.
That's basic. So I
Hmm.
have a student who has worked in motor racing, has worked in national games, has been a part of Khelo Games, has been a part of Premier Kabaddi League, and has been a part of IPL. What
Oh
is
my
the
God. So you
similarity
see a
between these
variety.
five leagues?
Absolutely.
After
Absolutely.
you get into the sports management industry, what counts is your experience into that domain and not what sports you come from. Let's say you have a cricketer who has represented at a particular, let's say, has played particular, at a level, and he will not be restricted only to cricket. You never know, he might end up working along with you, Ronak. Getting
Absolutely.
it?
I mean, I
What
have folks who have played the Ranji and working with me.
Absolutely. So here it does not count. Here it definitely does not count. And with the rise of leagues, you have seen IPL. You know how IPL has come up in the last 14 odd years.
If
The
you
way
can
the
just
money.
talk a bit about the IPL and how huge it is as well while you are speaking about this. So it'll
IPL,
be
it will be for very, for me to talk about IPL. A simple, equation is 48,000 crore is the media rights this year, which started off from 8,200. So I think that itself speaks a volume.
so
Very few
48,000 crores has been invested by a media company to buy the
acquire
streaming
the
rights of
rights.
IPL. That is the IPL that you're seeing on TV has been bought for 48,000 crores by Geo.
Imagine the
Right?
imagine the amount that they will sell it for. They will not sell it for 48,000. They will not here for charity, right?
Yeah.
They will sell it at a higher price. So you just imagine the amounts involved. The number of people who work on IPL is close to
Mhm.
30,000 odd. We
My
just see
goodness.
the people who are involved in the teams. Okay,
Hmm.
20, 25 people per team, 250. I'm saying you have a look at that. But in the back end, people who are involved in the stadium, people who are involved with the sponsors, direct, indirect, the number is huge. The number is pretty huge. Last year, more than 250 on record. We had from our side, we had some 150, 160 people who went for IPL, but
And
off
what are these
direct.
domains that they're working on? If you can just also touch
Uh,
upon that.
they are into ambush marketing. They are into stadium operations. Quite a few are working. Quite a few got associated with the team. some got associated for data analytics. So I'm saying they didn't go for pure volunteering. They were not there to move the chairs here and there. They were there doing some serious work which will enhance their resumes. Give a weightage to the resumes. And
Absolutely.
unofficially, we know that more than 450 students, including our alumni current network who directly applied, more than 450 students worked on alumni for IPL.
I mean, that's
You
a
have
huge number.
That's a
That's a
huge
huge
number.
number.
Plus, you have people who go to PKL. You have ISL, which will begin now. We have the Kho League, which will begin. There's so many leagues. In fact, there is towards east part of the country, there is something called Brahmaputra League.
In
The
Assam, right?
volleyball.
The volleyball league.
Yes,
Absolutely.
by Mr. Abhijit Bhattacharya. Look at the people needed, which started as a small experiment. Look at what Mr. Bhattacharya has done. I'm saying
Absolutely.
it is endless. I'm talking about all this which are national leagues. There are so many events which happen locally, state-wise, which happen city-wise. They need people, and which keeps on happening on a regular basis. Everybody needs a sports management professional.
Absolutely.
Everybody
Absolutely.
needs one. So the market. So the last estimate that we had, the figures that we had got, is that you need more than 20 lakh people in the sports management ecosystem. Give a discount of 75%. Let's look at a number that you are going to need. That's a huge number.
It's a huge number. It's a
That's a
huge number.
massive number.
I mean,
I'm
please, please.
these are all tricky numbers, so these are not something that I have come up with.
Yeah, no. We can understand, the numbers being stated are all tentative, not absolute numbers. But yeah, the indications are made by very, publishers who have a name in the industry and also at large,
Yeah.
right? So the thing is, of course, like you say, that there's a huge demand. We can also see an influx of a lot of private bodies who are pitching into the sector, right?
Yeah.
Year on year, we are seeing that new companies which are north of say 1,000 crores revenue want to invest in sports. They have a separate sports marketing budget, right? Within their
Right.
entire marketing mix, there is a separate segment for sports marketing which they're investing. When it comes to CSR, also CSR is also the same. I think you did your PhD in CSR recently, sir.
Yeah, it's on.
You
I'm
have
not
been
completed, but yes, my PhD is all
yeah,
in CSR. In fact, I wanted
yeah,
to touch that topic. Initially, the
yeah.
number of companies investing in sports CSR was very restricted.
Hmm.
Very restricted. But now the number of companies who have started investing in sports, to develop the sports ecosystem, sponsor athletes, it is growing. I will not give the figures right now because this is still under discussion, but the number has grown in multiples. It has really grown in multiples. So earlier, where the CSR was restricted to education, girl child development, but the typical topic, there were typical subjects that people used to invest into. People have diverted. For example, your Dream Sports Foundation,
We are
arm
also
of
associated.
Dream 11, 100% of their CSR goes into the sporting
Sports.
ecosystem.
We are also associated with them.
Of course, so you know about that. So that's what I was going to say. Grassroots development, coaches development, they invest only into esports ecosystem, and that's a huge statement.
Absolutely. Just for our viewers' understanding, if you can just briefly talk a bit about what CSR is, what is the percentage, and how does that work, right?
Oh,
Because for a
so
lot of people, they
CSR
might not understand. Yeah.
companies with a specific revenue need to spend 2% of their profits into social responsibility projects. These projects can be your education projects. There is a list. There is a complete list given by the government where all you can invest, and that's a compulsory investment that you have to do. So
Hmm.
quite all you're talking about the Tatas, the Infosys, the Wipros of the world, everybody who has their separate CSR wing. So
Correct. Absolutely.
that's where I came about Dream Foundation, also a part of Dream 11. And
So,
so you have the bigger the current companies which invest in sports. I can tell you, apart from Dream, you have JSW, you have Tata Sports, you have Reliance Foundation. These are the three big companies who are investing into sports. That's really big.
So, in India, a mass population who are in the, say, what we call the NCCS A2 audience, basically the middle class group,
Yeah,
most of them have their children or, the young folks working in IT companies like Infosys, Accenture, TCS, and all those things. Now, can you tell us that is there a possibility that these same folks would work in the same company, but in the sports marketing department. Is there a possibility? Like, are we already seeing it, or is it going to
Yeah,
come?
there are companies who have had their own ecosystem. See, IT is a different ball game altogether. When you come out to software development, I can't compare that. But there are a lot of companies who have started employing sports management professionals, especially the ones who are sponsors of quite a lot of events. They have started investing. Companies which have started investing into sports CSR have started hiring sports management professionals. And I
They're
know
building
because
a different sports vertical for them, a sports arm of sorts, right?
yes, in that CSR, see, it's a CSR department, and in that, yes, you do have different vertical. So they have started doing this already. So
Hmm.
for our students also, it's a different avenue.
Absolutely. I mean, uh, when we see, I was just discussing with someone that, Tech Mahindra is investing huge amounts in sports marketing, and they are building products in sports, and they require folks who would be sports specialists, right? Such is the case with TCS also. TCS run one of the largest marathons in the country, right? And also they have gone on to the world. And with these giants who started from India with a different say aim, different verticals, they are now giving it back to sports, and that is where they require people with specialized acumen and skill sets and everything, right?
So we work with Tata Marathon to release their reports. I'm sure you know that we
Yeah, yeah,
released three reports, three impact reports, which were released by the Honorable Governor of Maharashtra a couple of years back. So we work with the Tata Marathon guys to release such kind of reports, and that's where our students also work on.
absolutely, absolutely. So just for the viewers to know, marathon as a sporting activity is one of the largest participative activities in the country as of today after cricket, right? So it is huge. I mean, the
Yeah.
number of marathons that are happening in the country is phenomenal, and it's a great activity ranging for kids till I don't know what age. Till the time you can walk and run, you can take part in it, right?
Absolutely.
So now coming to the spectrum of playing and pursuing your degree, how does that work? How does that equation work? Like, if someone is playing and also wants to be serious about a career in sports, how do they find the right balance? Because we have, since we run residential academies, so we have, how our model is planned is, what we offer is an integrated program where we have our boarding schools. We have very specialized boarding schools where we offer them training, football training, and their academics is also taken care of by, say, reputed ICSE, CBSE affiliated curriculums, right? In the same manner, once they go beyond class 12, how do they find that right balance? Because now they are in that spectrum of their career where they might need to make a choice, say, in the next few years. So how do they find the right balance according to you?
If you recollect, I not answered, but I spoke about this at the beginning of our
Yes,
discussion.
yes, yes. You
we
did
have
touch
we
upon that.
have representations. So what happens is whenever they have events, they have to continue with their practice. They need to continue with their practice. They need to continue with their game. What IISM does is we offer them a break during their events, during their practice, and that's officially allowed. They, of course, they need to do some documentation for that. It's not that they can just come and walk out and practice. There is some documentation to be done, but we help the students to pursue their sports career as well regularly. When I'm saying that I have 15, 17 international representations with me, I'm not going to stop them from their game anyway, right?
So they are
But
allowed to pursue sports alongside their
absolutely, they're
academics, right?
allowed to pursue. Few of our students go and participate in the national, international tournaments which happen. Last year, Khelo had, I think, 5, 7 of our students who participated. Few won medals also, even in the nationals as well. So there is absolutely no halt to their sports career while pursuing a degree from us.
Got it. Got it. From the back end, I've just been informed that while we are discussing, we have a lot of questions that are coming in, from the live
Sure,
audience
please.
in Insta and YouTube and Facebook. So we would like to take one of them and see if we can answer it. So can we have the question displayed on the screen? Okay, funny name, Mini Monkey Boy is asking that kindly discuss the career paths after 12 and also about the salaries. So if you can just, maybe take an attempt and try
Okay.
to answer that.
See, I spoke about the various career options which are available post you doing the sports management. You have sports, you are into operations, you are into grassroots development, you are into data analytics. It all depends upon what is your choice. What happens is once the students get exposed to various volunteering and internship opportunities, I think by the end of the third year, the student is ready to make his choice on what
Hmm.
exactly he wants to get into. I have seen students who start by saying that I want to be an athlete manager, and at the end of the day, getting into operations completely because that's what they liked.
Hmm.
Uh, as far as salaries goes, see there is salaries always depend on what you can offer to the employer.
Organization. Yeah.
There are bans which are given. There are of course bans which are given by the companies, but it all depends upon what kind of experience you garner, what kind of experience you can offer back to the company. It all depends upon that. So this is one part where I really avoid talking about because it is person dependent. Getting a job, getting salaries that you are looking out for is person dependent. But if you want to ask me, yes, anywhere from 3.5 4 lakh onwards normally are the salaries which start. It can, I'm saying you don't, this is a ballpark figure, this is a ballpark figure. It all depends upon the candidate.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hope it answers your question, and thank you so much for joining in. May we have the next question on the screen, please? Okay, Manisha is asking us, how can a student pursue sports management after? I am assuming she is asking that how can a person pursue sports management after their playing career gets over, right? So let's go
I
with
just
that
explained.
assumption and try to answer. Yeah,
Yeah, so as I just said, you can do it after you are playing, or even during your playing. You can apply for the sports management course at IISM. We have a entrance examination. You can appear for that, and there is some process that you have to follow. And post that, yes, if you clear, you'll be able to get into the sports management course. We are assuming that this is after your playing
yeah.
career
This
that
is
you
with
have.
our assumption.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Now coming back to our topic of discussion, we have a bit of a limited time, so we can't take all the questions. I'm really sorry, but thank you so much for joining in, Manisha and the others who have joined in. Talking about the Olympics, that is the talk of the town as of now, right? Paris, India is performing fantastically. In general, also we are getting to see that the sporting levels have increased a lot, the across the world. With the influx of sports science, technology, analysis, we can see how it impacts human performance, right? So in that case, there's a lot of talks as well that we have our reliance, we have our government led by the prime minister, Narendra Modi ji, who are in talks to bring the Olympics to India in 2036, which is a huge thing if executed well, right? And I wanted your opinion, since you are completely involved in the industry, and what all things are happening. So maybe two questions. One is, how what is the possibility that India can conduct a large scale event like the Olympics, and the second is, what impact would it have if India is able to organize it?
See, I'm taking it very positively that yes, it is going to happen because you are
Are you
also part
saying
of
it
the.
is going to happen means we are quite sure
I am,
that
as I said, I am positive that it will happen in
you are positive?
2036. Yeah,
Got
because
it.
the way the things are happening, with the way that the things have started moving, with the way development is happening in Gujarat, there is some development happening in Mumbai. Let's take it in a positive thing that yes, it will happen. Uh, our honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji is working on that. As you rightly said, a lot of corporate houses are working on that. So I'm saying ki, yes, let's take it positive that it will happen. Considering that it will happen, just imagine uh, a different context. Last year, you had in a small state of Goa, you had a national games happening,
Correct.
which and that too during the tourist time. Understand what I'm saying? During the tourist period, a typical tourist period of October and November, it happened. That increased their revenue manifold from what it happens every year.
From a government standpoint, is it?
Yes, because we have
Okay.
created an impact report
So
till the
revenue
time
for the state is what we are speaking of, not a
it is just one
organization.
state. It is just
Yeah.
one state. You
Yeah.
saw an influx of 10,000 athletes. Just do the calculation. Apart from your regular people who come during the tourist season, you had 10,000 plus athletes who came in. Around 4,500 to 5,000 support staff who came in. Their parents also accompanied them. So you had close to, take an approximate number of 15,000 accompanied people along with this. You had close to 35 odd thousand extra people coming into the state in that 15 days, right? Just do the math yourself. How it would have affected the hotel industry, how it would have affected the F&B industry, how it would have affected the local travel industry, because apart from the athletes also needed their travel, right? This is only for those 10,000 athletes plus the people coming in. I'm not talking about spectators. India, economically, you're talking about the athletes, you're talking about the coaches, so many countries sending them, so the number is massive. The spectators coming across, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a huge thing. I'm not giving a figure to it. I'll give a figure to
Because it's
what is the
difficult also to give the figure. Like it's such a
absolutely.
huge scale event, we don't know like where
I
it will end.
the estimated industry figure for the manpower required is going to be 2 lakh plus people to work on this.
Within what time span, sir?
You're looking at till 2036 itself, so they will
36
start
only.
working.
Okay. So
So
12
you
years from now.
absolutely. So those who start right now would actually be a part of that event when it happens.
And be at a very decent position. 12 years in within us, the same industry can get them to a very decent position where they
Absolutely. So
can
if you
take
remember,
the
I spoke
calls.
about the graph. I spoke about the graph at
Hmm.
the beginning. We are at the beginning of the graph. So by the time we reach here, we'll be at the peak when the Olympics are supposed to happen. And that's going to be massive. The kind of experience that the people who get into sports management right now, what they will garner, they will get to work on the Olympics. It's going to be a massive thing. It's going to be an absolute massive thing.
Fantastic. I mean, hope and we look forward to this. That I am aware that the work has already started in Gujarat, where they're already building the infra to support the
Yeah.
requirements for the Olympics, and it's highly likely that if the Olympics come to India, it's going to be hosted in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. These are the two cities that are proposed. We don't know how things will pan out, but yeah, we have started taking steps in that direction, right? So coming back to the entire spectrum of sports management and people who want to start up and stuff like that, what advice do you have to a young aspirant, say within our academy, since we are speaking solely about our students? Let us say there is a player who is playing currently, but he or she understands that after a certain point they might not be able to make it that big, right? But they still want to be associated. Right. So, what would be your advice to them? Like, should they drop after a certain point and focus on studies and then take up sports management, or continue to play? And what should be their pathway?
No, I would never ask any athlete to stop playing. I'll never do that because that's what their first passion is. But side by side, while you're playing, start getting into sports management. If you want a backup plan, get into sports management because education never fails you. It's never going to go waste, right? Start working on that. Yes, you're able to make it big into sports. Nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it. But at the end of your career, there is going to be end of a career sometime. You have some other opportunity to fall back upon. So if it permits that you can take it parallelly, why not?
Absolutely. Perfect. So, if someone wants to sort of know more about ISM, how do they reach out to you, sir?
Simple, www.ismworld.com, our website. You can give a reference that you were a part of this seminar, and we'll be more than happy to, in fact, give you more details. We'll be happy to have a separate seminar for your students talking about what we do into ISM.
Absolutely fantastic. So to conclude things, India's sporting landscape is not just evolving, but it's emerging into a giant as we speak. With the likes of IPL, IPL currently is valued, I think, third in world, right, in the world, because the two big US leagues, the NBA and the NFL, they rank the first, and then there comes the IPL. So that is
Yeah.
the scale that we are talking of when it comes to Indian sports ecosystem from a business standpoint. So there are multiple avenues and multiple opportunities that are thriving, and thanks to institutes like IISM who have supported me in my journey, and I'm very grateful that I had the learning curve from you guys, and the type of knowledge not just academic knowledge, but the practical knowledge that I was provided with, the exposure that I was given was fantastic, which has led me to this path. And I'm sitting today hosting you, and it's a fantastic moment. Thank you so much for taking out the time to speak with us, enlightening us with all the latest happenings, and I look forward to having you back very soon.
Thank you. Thanks. My pleasure, Ronak. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, sir. Bye.